It's Thursday, it's 8 p.m, and it's our 100th episode!
Hey, drink to that, Dave.
Adrian's got some balloons. I've just finished my drink.
No.
And I got one. I'll have to open a can of Coke when I'm quiet. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, bit of a hectic week. Everyone's back at work now. It's all like, and I don't know, I've been detected a few times, but yeah, you're back, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, driving's a nightmare. Driving is an absolute nightmare.
It's got busier and it's picking up, and now there's this Indian variant all kicking off. It's like, let's just hope it don't affect us detecting.
Well, it's affecting me in work because a lot of the supplies to the company I work for come via India, so it's already, the pan has been hit already, as it has with Jaguar Land Rover. They've closed 2 sites already today on the back of it.
Really?
Yeah, computer products, ECUs and chips and what have you. So from around the world, plus there's lots of other things because obviously it's a slow moving process for somebody who's not got steel and they haven't got this and they haven't got that. So the people have got to, I can see you fiddling there. So yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, blimey, I didn't think of that. Didn't think of that at all. Ooh. That's bad. But anyway, it's 100th show. So
it is.
Well
it's
done to you and Luke.
It's absolutely mental, that is.
Yeah, 100. That's quite a lot, really.
And I've only missed one.
Yes.
Sadly for the people who watch.
Yeah.
Anyway. So our 100th show and tonight's guest, he's I'll tell you what, Adrian, I've got some fantastic little videos of his to play throughout the evening. Which one or two of them I actually remember seeing on TV in the Northwest where I live not long back, to be honest. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to James Balme. Good evening, James.
Good evening. How are you?
Ready for bed. How are you?
Not ready for bed just yet. I'm okay. Yeah, so, busy day, busy week, preparing now for more films that I've got to do for the History Walk series and for Rambles Through Cheshire, which is yet more work and piling on top of myself, throwing that in on top of the Cheshire Life magazine columns. So it's keeping me busy and keeping my hands out of the dirt, and that's unfortunate because I love metal detecting and so does my partner, Veronica. But as I think I mentioned to you off air, I've had so much work from doing the writing of the articles and making films, I just can't get out into the field at the moment. But that's all going to change in the spring, I promise you. Promise you that.
Well, I tell you what, James, I think we had the world's greatest armchair on the show a couple of weeks ago. And I think you've got the best man cave up to now. What do you say, Adrian?
It is. Yeah, it's become my life. Even in January, I took a nice redundancy package, allowing me to go absolutely full-time with the writing for Cheshire Life and the making of the films. And it's developing so well that I'm now working with the National Churches Trust in Cheshire to promote all the churches and the history throughout the area throughout 2021. And the beautiful spin-off is that they're using my films on Explore Cheshire, Visit Cheshire and the National Churches Trust. So it's all spinning up slowly but surely, and it's become a passion. Really has.
I can see that from your films. If we go backwards a bit, James, could you introduce yourself to the audience and let them know a bit about yourself up to where we are today?
Yeah, no problem. When I was 12 years old, got my first metal detector that ran on gas. We're going back to 1974, but 1975. From there, got really hooked on the hobby, started finding a few bits and bobs as you do. Even a Coke can was exciting at the start. Ran through for about 4 or 5 years, and when I was 15 I joined an archaeological group in Altrincham called South Trafford Archaeology, where I met a gentleman called Derek Pearce who took me under his wing and basically taught me everything from the ground upwards, sorry about the pun, for archaeology in the Altrincham area and the Cheshire area. And we worked on Roman sites, Saxon sites, all sorts of sites over the years, and that gave me a really good sort of bedding down. Now, I had to leave the archaeological group in around about 1998 due to other commitments. So I decided it was time to get hold of some aerial photographs and study the village of Warburton in Cheshire. To cut a long story short, I found a Roman settlement. We're not quite sure whether it's a farmstead. there was definitely military action there, because some of the coinage was indeed military, and that was confirmed by Dr. Shotter at Lancaster University. The spin-off from that is ITV and BBC One. All these people got interested, and in 2006, Time Team physically phoned me up and asked could they come and dig the site. As many people here watching this tonight know, it was classed as no stone unturned, and the conclusion of the programme was that indeed they found absolutely nothing. The spin-off from that is it's actually become one of the most classic Time Teams. However, they didn't find it that day, but things have been found there for years from when I was excavating with Manchester University. I've not been on site since, but I'm quite sure there's more archaeology and history to find there in the future.
And it more or less is time that you went back. I've got a little video to play just to introduce people to your channel and such like. So, Luke, if you'll do the honours. So there you go. Adrian, you're in the black and white church at the start then?
Yeah.
I got married there.
Really? Oh, that's pretty flash, Dave.
Isn't it?
That's nice. I tell you what, one question I do want to ask James is, how on earth did you get into producing such sort of high quality film footage and titles? Is that something from your previous job? Or is that just something you've picked up over time?
This is from the metal detecting, again at Warburton. In 1999, I'd found that much stuff that Granada TV got in touch, Lucy Meacock, and asked could they do a live broadcast. So I said, yep, no problem. Came home from work at lunchtime. It looked like a murder scene. There were TV vans and satellite dishes everywhere. Anyway, we did the broadcast there and then live at 6 p.m. And the chap that came to film said, you're pretty good at this, or you seem quite good at it. Why don't you give it a go? And Lucy had said down the earpiece, that was very professional. Have you done this sort of thing before? And I said, well, no, not really. So anyway, I bought the camera off this chap, a cheap camera, and taught myself how to use it. Come to 2001, I got involved with Middlewich Town Council and the Roman heritage and the tours they did and the Roman army visiting for the festivals. And I was commissioned by the late Jonathan Williams, who unfortunately we've now lost, to make the first sort of documentary covering the festivals. This went on for a whole 10 years. So I really sort of bit the ground with the history, the archaeology and the metal detecting, and the passion was really spinning up. So that's what got me there. Did some films, set myself up a YouTube channel in 2007, put films on there and just kept taking the cameras everywhere I went. Went really well. And then around about 2016, my mum was taken ill. So I didn't do any films for almost 2 years. So come to early 2019, I decided something just told me to go out, reinvest in your computers, reinvest in your equipment and start again. And from November 2019 to now, this is where I've come to. So it's all self-taught.
Brilliant. Nice. When you were, sorry.
No, you started.
When you were detecting, did you find it, when you first started filming, did you film yourself detecting a lot?
Yeah, what I tended to do, I found that it was because I've been doing the festivals and I sort of learned what worked on camera, what didn't work. If I knew I was researching a certain field, I'd go down 6 a.m., 7 a.m., film the sunrises, film across the fields, get the atmosphere. Then I would physically go down, metal detect. And I think a lot of people used to do this before mobile phones. You'd metal detect, you'd know what you'd found. And yes, you would, to some point, rebury some of them to recover on camera. but it's such an atmosphere to go into a field and there's nothing particularly come out of the field. And you're there with the cameras. You get like a Roman silver denarius comes out of the ground, not been touched for 2,000 years, and there it is live on camera.
Yeah, this was obviously before, like you say, mobile phones and GoPros, and I can just see someone with like a video camera, VHS, sort of carrying it around with you.
Well, you're in a field with a tripod and a big camera, basically, and people driving past it like beeping the horns and wondering what's going on, But at the end of the day, people get used to it. So,
at least people weren't saying, "Have you found anything?"
Yes, I had one chap come over to me after about a year and just said, "Can I take your photograph? I've seen and read so much about you." And I went, "Yeah," sort of stunned. He took my photograph and walked off with his dog, and that was it. Never heard from him again.
At least he didn't walk off with your dog.
Yeah, or the car. Yeah, but, it is really exciting to get out there and to capture it on film. People love to see it. And what's beautiful this time is that because of lockdown, I was on furlough for a whole year, just over a year. People abroad are starting to contact me and say, "These films are fantastic. We're stuck in, we can't get out. We feel like we're going on virtual tours with you." So that just gives you the impetus to do more.
And it was good for me as well. Obviously, somebody else must have shared one of your posts on social media, and I thought, I know that place. And obviously, via that, we communicated, and it was oddly a church that I got married at. And obviously, I thought I knew the history of the church, but obviously, seeing your video, I didn't even know that. So it's great to be able to, and obviously, other churches around the area that I've been to. And studied in a different capacity, and again not realised the history until it was pointed out in the videos. So it's great for locals like me as well.
Yeah. Well, again, you see, it's circumstances, because I was making history walks in Dunham Massey and all the different buildings and some wonderful places, and then everywhere got locked down. But the one place that never got locked down was churches. Okay, you couldn't always get inside churches, but you could go to the graveyards, you could learn about the history, you could tell the story of the church from day one to how it stands today. Then as it sort of spun up, I got to talk to more and more vicars, more and more people who said, "Well, yeah, we're on lockdown, we've got the keys, you can go in the church if you're filming on your own." And it just grew and grew. And then last year I got the opportunity, somebody sent me a video saying, "I've been to Warburton with the drone, but I don't want the drone. I got it as a retirement gift and I'm bored of it." I took his hand off, and you can see from the films running behind me that now History Walks, and indeed some of the other films, I go down, I do the filming outside, I go into the church and tell the history of the church. But one key element of every film now is to give everybody a guided tour by air through the churches. We don't fly at 60 feet away. I fly up and over the steeples, past the flagpoles and everything. And it's all done, with safety. The drones are built not to crash into anything. We're not flying anywhere near as fast as it sometimes looks on camera. But people just love to see parts of the church you'd never see walking past it.
Yeah, I can agree. The video you've just played, where you go up and over the top of the church, you can see the lead roof at the very top. You don't get to see things like that at all, and it's nice to be able to see that aspect of the architecture.
Yeah. And what I also like to do is, once you get high enough and you take it high enough, you can show people the landscape that the church is standing in, or the ancient building, and it becomes clearer. Then you can see all the field boundaries, you can see sort of the layout of the ground, and you can, obviously with a lot of churches now, you can see the older graves which are not visible anymore on the surface. You can see them in the grass, and this is helping them to mark out when they're going to uncover some of the older graves.
I'm just reading through the comments, and yes, I cut my hair off last night, everybody, because I'm a paint sprayer and it was doing me head in my mask, so I shaved it off, and Dave's back. Dave looks silly with hair. We're back. Adrian, you're going to say something then?
I was, until I read that comment about your hair and the hair show. I thought you'd done it as a dare for the 100th. Sorry, bit of lead found in me top that I must have dug up. Yeah, I thought you were going to do it as a dare for the 100th show. So yeah, but obviously not. I've forgotten what I was going to say. I was interested about the drones that James uses, because when they first started coming out with detecting, my mate, who's also called James, he's got a drone, and it's amazing when you put it up above the field, and not so much at the time when you're there, but when you get home and go over the footage and you look at the landscape and how different it is from what you see on the physical ground. They're lovely. And you could, I don't know, there's something soothing about drone footage as well. I think it's because, like, how can I say this? Not in a weird way, but it's almost like a bird's view, and it's almost as if we've never experienced it before in our own lives. Well, me growing up, only on television. And to think that you're able to create that sort of thing, your eyes aren't sort of like, well, this isn't real, but it is. It's almost like virtual reality. But
it also, it basically gives you a different mindset, because I'll turn up at church for, say, Marbury or somewhere, and there's a beautiful lake at the back of it. I didn't know that when I arrived. Flew the drone down over the lake, thought you just see the shot, came in over the lake and swept up right over the church. And as you say, some beautiful music, flying fairly slow, and it's surreal, and people just feel that, you know, I don't know what it is, it just lifts the atmosphere and the beauty of the place, and it's almost telling a story without words.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it, actually. Telling a story without words, definitely so.
And it's also a valuable commodity when used in aerial surveys of the archaeological landscape as well.
Yeah. And I've even been asked recently, would I consider doing survey work on the steeples, because a lot of churches, they need to get the steeple or the tower looked at. Scaffolding's 20 grand before they start. You know, so you've got a drone, you can go up there, you're doing HD broadcast quality video, which you can give them on my memory stick for a fraction of the cost. You know, so there's all sorts of opportunities in the future to do different things with the drone. But there's something when you put that drone on the floor and you take off, you enter a different world. Because what I do is I have a tablet, a 10-inch tablet connected to the remote control, and you're the eyes, you see it. You know, you can see everything just looking at the screen, so you know where you're going. And over time, you learn what you can and can't get away with. And by that, I mean, some people will fly towards a building or an object, and they think they can judge the distance. And I've seen so many drones hit branches and what have you, come crashing to the ground because they were more interested in what was happening in front of them on the camera. You should always keep the drone in line of sight. That's a very good lesson.
Pomsey Metal Detecting asks, do you have to have a commercial drone license?
You do if you're doing the steeple work. You don't if you're just flying for like I'm doing it. You could class it as a hobby. I'm not getting paid for flying, so I'm doing it as an interest and something I do as making the films. But he's correct. If I was to go and start doing all the church steeples, I'd have to have commercial insurance. Definitely.
I'm with you. We're going to come back to metal detecting a little bit later on, and archaeology and such like. What was the reason that you actually started looking at churches as part of the series?
Yeah, what it was, as I said earlier, Dave, I was already doing Dunham Massey. I was doing things like Slaughterhouse in the Wood and all these different films. And then everything went on lockdown. And the only thing you could go to was a churchyard. You were allowed to travel to the churchyards. If the churches were open, you were allowed to go in individually. So I did 1 or 2 churches and got a massive response. But then I started learning more and more about these churches. And when I go to different churches now, I understand what this is in the church. I understand what that means. And I understand why they did this. But beauty is that almost every church I go to has Anglo-Saxon or Norman roots.
There's some fantastic videos, as I say, Siddington, I can't remember the name, Rosthern, right? God, you know the one about that. Yeah, I was right. Did you do Martin as well?
Yeah, I've done them all. They're all in series 2. I've broken History Walks into 3 series. Series 1 is a lot of the buildings like Dunham Massey and various places. Series 2 is a lot of the churches, a lot of them outside, flying over, talking about the history of the church, and some inside. By series 3, every single film even includes going inside and seeing some of the ancient treasures that still remain within these buildings.
And if anybody's watching and you do want to have a look at one in particular, I would recommend Saint, the one in Asbury. What's it called?
Oh, you've got me now.
Just down the road from me. And I can't even remember.
Yeah. But down at
Google it when talking. And there's a fantastic Knight's Tomb there as well.
There is, yeah, and that's features in the film. They both feature in the film, to be quite honest. And this is where we're going now, because we're getting more access into each church. We're having the beauty that we can go and look at the stone effigies inside. We're getting to see things that you may not always see. When I went to Goresworth, there's the tombs of the Fitton families inside. Now, they're cordoned off at all times, and nobody is allowed to go near them. I got permission to go in and film and present and tell you all about them. So again, I'm opening sort of views to different things that the public don't always get to see.
I'm actually detecting a field directly behind Goresworth Hall.
Are you now?
I am indeed.
Oh, any joy?
Sorry?
Any joy?
Nothing in particular. Well, my pal who came with me a few weeks ago, he had a massive lead stopper, very, very old. Yeah. Other than that, one field that we thought would be brilliant, we've realised it's a part of what they're extensions of the woods. They've took it right back, and excuse me, the rest of it it's just been sort of dating back to probably late 1700s currently. But a friend of mine, John Webb, he may or may not pop into the show at some point. He's been detecting the field right next to Martin Church. You know, when you go on the car park there, the field opposite. Yeah. He's been on there for years. He's had all sorts of hammered coins and such like. Yeah. So, and then Asprey Church, St Mary's it is in Asprey.
That's it. Yeah.
Again, the field's adjacent to that. My friend Graham, I know he's had all sorts of lead weights from ladies' dresses and such like, hammered coins and all sorts off there. So it's. Yes, it's a fantastic area. I find it very lucky that I live in these here parts, and obviously I'm learning more and seeing your videos. I'm finding different places that I want to go myself.
Because these films are being made with the mindset that I am also a detectorist, and I've been doing that for 40 years plus. So it's a combination of getting the history in there. I know how passionate metal detectorists are. That's what people call them, but they're just hobbyists. They're history people themselves. We know what we're doing out there. We know what we're looking for, and we learn so much when we're out there, you know, and we're being taken more and more seriously, hopefully, with everything that they find and the knowledge that we all gain from it.
Do you find, James, obviously being a detectorist and doing your history show,
yeah,
I know you said you haven't been able to get out for quite a while now because you've been so busy and stuff, but if you're like me, whenever I meet someone new or someone and they say, oh yeah, I'm a farmer, or oh, I own a load of stables or a load of land, do you still sort of say, has anyone ever metal detected on it, in the back of your mind? Do you sort of like, do you ask that? What's the sort of feedback do you get? Do you get people go?
What I'm lucky in some ways, because I tell people what I'm doing with the films and everything, and they get interested with that. And then I mention that obviously I did the Warburton, I found the Roman sort of things. And then, as you say, they start sort of giving back information. And if you get a good rapport with them, it's more often than not they actually offer you, would you like to come and have a look round? You know, that's how I've always done it.
Have you gained any permissions in recent years, even though you haven't detected through filming?
Not really. I mean, what I've tended to do, I've had some. I've got one near Risley Prison. That's interesting. I've not found any ladders yet. But again, I know at Risley Moss near Warrington, if you go to Warrington Museum, most of the Bronze Age axes and spearheads have come out of Risley there in the 18 and 1900s when they're cutting the peat out of there. So I've been on there and found a few matrix seals, that sort of thing. But all these places are still open if I want to go back, obviously, when they're ploughed and ready for being used again. So yeah, there are permissions there, and I'm hoping this year that I will be able to get out and start again.
Good.
I'm just reading through the comments for tonight, and it's turned into a full-on drone discussion about which is the best drone to stand. And I've got no idea what anyone's going on about. Well, hi, Lee Hull. Nice to see you. Congratulations. Yes, and Lee was listening to our first podcast, so thank you for still being there, Lee. We haven't got rid of you yet.
Yeah. What drone do you? The drone I use, as you're about to ask me, I use the Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro. Stuck with it. I've had it a year now. I sent it away. I had it serviced a few weeks ago, and they said, fantastic, it's come back. They've brought out the Mavic 1, the Mavic 2, and all the other drones. But I was reading the other day that some of the newer drones don't have what's called D-Cine-like, which is, as it sounds, it's like CinemaScope and all that. And as you've seen from my films when I'm flying, that's the quality I'm getting. Some of the newer drones by DJI aren't actually giving you that option, which is unusual. Really unusual. So, self-taught pilot.
Yeah, a friend of mine from work. He's done a few flying through the Stoke City football ground, going up Blackpool Tower, and the one at Blackpool Tower. It always makes me laugh. I always go to it just to have a look at this one point. He flies up to the top, and everybody's pointing at the drone, and then he does that, and they start waving back.
I'd love to do that. James, when you do all your filming with your drone, you mentioned off air earlier, you're very fortunate to have your wife also. She likes detecting.
Partner, Don't promote my wife. Yeah,
right.
She's listening now.
Do you want to propose? It's the 100th show. You can.
It is, to be fair.
Leave me out of this one.
Well, Dave, I think you better tell him we've got a surprise, haven't we?
I bet you have.
No,
I'm scratching my head here, have we?
Yeah,
I was just getting James scared. It's a leap year, isn't it? I think when women can propose, I don't know. But does your partner help you film? Because obviously, going out, you must have a hell of a lot of kit to do your filming, like your drone, your camera, and all that. Do you do it all on your own, or does your partner help you?
Well, there's a story there as well that I met my partner first time round 17 years ago at the Archaeological group, and then we lost touch. And then about a year or so ago, we actually bumped into each other. So she's into archaeology and she loves metal detecting. I bought her a C-scope as well. So we've both got machines waiting to go. But she's got a love of photography. So when we go out, she will do a lot of the photographs in the churchyard, the gravestones within the church. I've had her doing a little bit of drone flying, which she's nervous about, but it's not as hard as you think. So, yeah, we go out as a team. We really are a team when we go out. So we both know what we're doing. We both know what we need to achieve for that film. And she loves to play the part of an extra. And there's many a time I'm filming a scene and she walks across the back, totally unaware that I'm filming. And there you go. She's in every shot. She's like Alfred Hitchcock. She turns up everywhere.
Do you do all the editing yourself?
I do everything from the initial script writing to presenting. And then as you can see behind me with the studio, I come home and I edit it from scratch. And that is something else. Again, I don't know what it is. You can teach yourself to edit, but to match the music to the films and everything else, it's just something within me that I can do. And the results are speaking for themselves, but I'm not professionally trained in any way.
Was your background your previous job? Did that have any involvement in anything you do?
No, it was selling adverts for 15 years. Selling adverts in magazines, local magazines. So no, not really in any way involved. The only involvement was doing the amateur archaeology in the earlier years and the metal detecting.
Right.
And Steve Ashcroft, sorry to put in, Steve Ashcroft's just asked a question. The live draws that we do on the show every week via Diggers Dips, they actually come up on a Friday or a Saturday on the Big Detecting Show Facebook page. You have to be a member of that. The rules of joining into the competition are on there. We'll have to join the Diggers Dip site to obviously have your screen name, but all the information's on there. Sorry for interrupting, gentlemen.
Carry on.
Yes. We've spoken about the filming and the drone footage and all that and the presenting, but you also write, I understand. How do you find that? Does that flow as easily as filming?
It does. Sometimes you sat there and think, God, I've got to write this article, but you just get it in your head, and once you start, it's like water. It keeps flowing. I've written one today, which I won't tell you what it is for now, because obviously it's got to go to the magazine for the following month. But yeah, I find writing easy, and I find script writing for the films easy. But when you're doing films, I write it in a sort of notation form. So when I get to the church or wherever I'm filming, the flexibility of the script is there. If I spot something or something different occurs, I can then mold the script to what I'm trying to tell people.
Adrian, Luke, I've just made a bit of a eureka moment. I think we're going to have a weekly meeting and script the show from now on. Imagine how good it may actually turn out then.
No. But again, you see, the Cheshire Life, that was the result, again, of what I'm doing. I wrote Cheshire Life in March last year, saying, I'm doing the films, I'm doing this. Would you like to, would you like to do an article about what I'm doing? And the new editor, Joanne Goodwin, lovely lady, turned around to me and said, no, we won't do. You write me an article and send it to me and we'll take a look at it, which I did. And I'm about to launch my 13th month with Cheshire Life for the May edition. So it's going really, really well.
For those of you who don't know what the Cheshire Life is, it's a magazine, obviously, Cheshire, but there's other areas that it's in as well. I don't know if it's as far down south. I'm not 100% sure of the coverage or if you have anything similar, but it basically looks at the life of Cheshire. In the past, it's been a bit, in my opinion, more towards the people who like to go to balls and such like. But James informs me that things have started to change for the better a little bit. But it's a good, thick magazine, very thick. And I must admit, James, whenever I go to the Cheshire Show, I'm always at the Cheshire Life stall at some point.
What are they giving away, Dave?
Magazine.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, Cheshire. Been there once.
Once? Just once?
Yeah. Well, my grandmother came from Budworth.
Yeah.
Oh, great, Budworth.
Yeah, she came from there. So I've only been there once. We went as a family, but there was this big bloke with a bald head and a beard, and he scared me, so we came home.
Oh dear. Well, I've written a very interesting article for the edition of Cheshire Life that comes out tomorrow. There's a 4-page special about the Cheshire churches, which I've done in conjunction with the National Churches Trust. But my article for this month is about St. Plegmund, who lived on an Isle of Chester, which was a church on a mound surrounded by marshes. Now, Plegmund was an Anglo-Saxon who became a saint. He actually became the Archbishop of Canterbury in 893. So somebody from Cheshire went from being a hermit monk all the way through to working with King Alfred to become the Archbishop. And that's what the article is about tomorrow.
There's one that's entered my head, James. I don't know if you're aware of it. Up in Neston, the grave of Saint Teresa Higginson. Fantastic story there. To the point that I actually, a couple of the people I used to work with in a former hobby became very close via a radio show that we used to do on BBC Radio Merseyside. And they've got a lot of her bits and pieces. I can't remember the correct term I'm looking for, but there's a lot of alleged healings and such like via these things.
Yeah.
But it's Saint Teresa Higginson over in Neston. Yeah, Neston. Fantastic grave, and the story behind that is really, really good. Where are we in the questions? I just
Someone
saw something else.
About Scotty B. Can you explain the finds on your wall, James, behind you?
The finds on my wall. Now then, the finds to that side. There we go, to this side. These are not necessarily finds. I also have an interest for some reason of collecting Southeast Asian treasures, Buddhas, anything like that. And I hunt them down through antique emporiums, auction sites on the internet, car boot sales, all that sort of thing. So this is where they're all coming from. Now, behind me on the wall with pictures, this looks like a longsword or a dagger. I'm told that's Celtic. Now, that's not been found by me. I actually bought that from an antique dealer who says that it is a Celtic short sword or long dagger, whichever. I have reported that some time ago. It's been looked at and they've come back to me and said, could be, might not be, you've not got enough provenance, but it looks right. So that's just one that I love. But most of the things I'm collecting nowadays are bronze, stone carvings, Buddhas, that sort of thing, which is totally different to what I'm doing with the films.
This must be why we get on so well, James, because when I sit cross-legged, I do look quite like Buddha.
With the
Can I rub your tummy, Dave?
You can do what you want. And
Yeah.
whenever I'm at Chelford Car Boot Sale now, I'll look out for your Asian stuff for you as well.
Yeah, you let me know if you find it.
I certainly will.
Don't double the price.
Right, I'm going to play a short video, one of James's videos off his site, regarding some of the finds that we've been discussing previously. Luke, if you'll play VT.
Welcome back to Granada Tonight, and an amazing discovery in Cheshire. It's a Bronze Age axe which originated thousands of years ago at the same time as the pyramids, Lucy.
Certainly did. It was discovered near Warburton in Cheshire by James Balme. It's just one of a number of artefacts that he's unearthed with the help of his metal detector. James joins us tonight. So James, what can you tell us about this axe then?
Hi Lucy. This axe, it's actually 4,000 years old, and as you can see, it's in very good condition. It would actually have been buried with a person of the early Bronze Age period as a votive offering.
Small.
It's extremely small. And the reason for that is purely that it was a gift to the gods rather than being used for anything, you know, for purposes of cutting wood or anything. And it was purely for that reason they made it that small.
So it was just buried with someone who is dead then?
Yes, the site itself, I've had a theory for a long time now that there was a burial site on there, and that more or less ties the site down itself. You would not find that just lying around anywhere.
So what other things have you found? What other favourites have you got there?
Another favourite of mine is a Roman brooch. It's early 1st century. It's called a Hod Hill brooch, and as you can see, it's actually got gold leaf still on it. Now, that would date to around about 50 AD, maybe 70 AD, and would have been used to hold the clothes together. Just what you would call a Roman safety pin, really.
Wow, so great for a toga party then?
Yes, and great for that, certainly.
What else have you got?
Right, another find which I'm very proud of is this toiletry set. Now, this would have been worn around the belt of a Roman person, and if you look, we've got tweezers still with the gold leaf on, and indeed nail cleaners, which would have been used cosmetically to do a manicure in effect.
Wow, I had no idea that they had things like that.
Oh yes, certainly. They were very, very clean people, and they were far more advanced in the Roman days than we really think. So, you know, it is a good find to find something that fragile.
What will happen to all of these fantastic things now then, James?
Right, well, expressed from the British Museum in London was that they would like actually to have the axe down there, but what I'd like to do is keep everything together, and myself and the landowner are looking to do a permanent exhibition within the village for the residents, because after all, you know, it's their history, and I think it'll do them good.
Well, James, thanks ever so much for sharing it all with us.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Fantastic stuff there.
The lovely Lucy Meacock. Looks very young, but then again, James, so did you.
Options there have changed in my mind since that film. The Hod Hill brooch that you saw in my hand, that was the funniest find I've ever found because it wasn't in the ground. It was about 9 inches in the air on an ear of corn.
Bloody hell.
Did she invite you to a toga party, though? Because I haven't heard anyone say that for about 20 years.
Yeah. Well, in 2000, the Ermine Street Guard, I actually persuaded the Ermine Street Guard to come up to just near Lymm, Warburton, and I had a Roman evening, and it was done with the local parish council, and they laid on a full Roman buffet. Everybody had to dress up in togas or whatever. Roman army came marching down the street, and I had Tim Strickland, who's the eminent archaeologist who used to run Chester Archaeology and Giffords. And that was a fantastic evening to see the whole of the Roman army just marching down a road past the pub. It's wonderful.
That would have gone wrong if I was there dressed in toga with alcohol. That would have been something out. That would have gone really pear-shaped. But no, that sounds good. I like the sound of that, actually.
National Lampoon's Animal House moment.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of Porky's or something like that. Yeah. But no, interesting.
Do you know, James, the Knutsford Road, when you come to it from Knutsford and you hit the main road and there's the gas station to your right. Yeah. If you come to the end, turn right. I actually done a BBC News part myself with Stuart Flinders regarding reports that I'd received in my past hobby of a Roman soldier actually seen there way back when. So that must have been about 15 years ago I'd done that episode. So
Is this
Wow.
one of those where they walk through the mist and you see the top half, not the bottom half?
No, do you know, it was just a full-on Roman centurion walking down the street. But what I didn't realise, done it absolutely, it was throwing it down with rain on the main road with Stuart Flinders. And they actually employed somebody to dress up as a Roman soldier, not when I was there, and walk down the road where I'm saying as a Roman soldier. Yeah. What people must have thought of that, I don't know.
Scare a few people, to say the least.
On scaring, we're going off the script that me and Dave spent 6 hours this week writing in the early hours of the morning, like we do every week, don't we, Dave, with Luke? Do you ever have any weird visions or senses when you're visiting all these churches and stuff? Have you had any strange experiences or none whatsoever?
You sometimes get a feeling, especially when you're in some of these churches on your own. We did one, I think it was Martin Church in the new year, and the church was quite cold. It was empty and dark. And on several occasions, we heard doors banging and rattling, and it wasn't windy outside. And that does make you think sometimes there's no heating running. It's not got to be the pipe work. But going back to metal detecting, when I was at Warburton in the early years, I can remember the field that Time Team dug. It's quite a big mound. It was known as Coney Grave, so Rabbit's Grave. And it's almost looked like a Bronze Age barrow, but it wasn't. And I can remember one day metal detecting, walking down on a quiet day, and I just heard horses thundering behind me, like charging, and I just turned around, there's nothing there, just gone, and it just make you wonder sometimes, what is it you're hearing or what is it you're sensing? But you could literally hear the thudding of the hooves, and it's a ploughed field, and you turn around, just nothing at all. That makes you think.
Weird.
Nick West still has the best story there. Metal detecting in France. Walked to the middle of nowhere. Him and his mate camped out for the night, and they heard all this noise, and they thought it was loggers. And they got out, and there was a full Nazi SS squad going past. And basically, he went back to the village completely shaken up. And one of the locals said to him, they see that all the time. I take it you've been out there. So,
yeah, he thought he had like a really weird thing happen to him. And all the locals said, oh, yeah, everyone sees that. It's like, normal. Yeah, really, really
Adrian,
weird.
Eagle-Eye DJI is wrote, talking about Roman ghosts, there is a road in Chelmsford, Essex, where 3 people have reported seeing Roman soldiers in their house. The road is on a Roman site. So there you go. Right. That's where you live, I think, isn't it?
Yep. It's not far from me. About 15-minute walk from me. There's obviously Chelmsford 1, 2, 3. Do you remember the programme that was on television? The Romans back in the 80s? No, it was on BBC One. If you Google it, it's on YouTube. It was all about how the Romans...
Me and James are far too young to remember things like that, mate. Be honest. That was scripted, by the way.
Well done there, Dave.
It's sad because back in the 70s, they unearthed the huge Roman baths in Chelmsford near the town centre, and it was immaculate. And I remember as a kid going there with my dad, and there was all pictures taken, everything. And like they did then, they just unearthed it, looked at it, took photos, and now they've built a electrical wholesaler on top of it. It's such a shame. But yeah, there is, where I live, James, in Essex, there's obviously a lot of Roman, and the permission I detect, there's a Roman road that runs through it, and there's stuff everywhere. It's still coming up to this day. And
I started in 2006 working for the magazine, selling the advertising. And at that time, I was also doing news films for them, so they could run them on the website, 2 or 3 minute films. And a school called Stockton Heath Primary, they were demolishing one block of it, and below was a complete Roman settlement. And I managed to get 6 invites over 3 weeks to go down and film the excavations, speak to the archaeologists, and do 5-minute films of each one. And they're all on my site if you dig right back into the heritage films.
Oh, I'll have a look at that.
I was there with the archaeologist, and he was showing me the quern stones they were pulling out, the lifting up the funerary urns, and they had a metal detectorist on there. I've forgotten his name now, lovely chap, and he was working for them as well. And he was going along the road surface, picking up sestertius and everything for them. It's a wonderful place to be. And when they rebuilt the school on top, because they found a massive stone well, they've actually capped it with perspex, glass or whatever. And if you go into the school now, in the reception area, the Roman well is still there to this day.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Lovely.
God.
And just to have been involved, that was just, again, it was something down these lines, and it was literally months before Time Team. So I was really sort of moving that way with the film work at that time.
Yeah.
Mark Shepherd in the chat room. He's asked, did we see his penannular brooch on Facebook over the past couple of days? I think so, Mark. I'm more or less certain that I've included Mark Shepherd, one of them, in this week's video. If not, if you would send it over to Dave at thebigdetectingshow.com or Adrian at thebigdetectingshow.com, and we'll sort that out. We'll certainly love to have a look at that. I'm just actually trying to find Adrian a picture of the well at the moment. So, Adrian, talk amongst yourselves.
Well, yeah. I love wells, actually. I love wells. Ever since I was a kid, I was always intrigued. Things that people threw down wells and stuff. I've never detected on a permission with a well. Well, not that you could detect on it. That'd be a good one for magnet fishing, actually, Dave. Wells.
Do you know Alex Savage? He's actually done that, and then I'm more or less certain he'd pulled a gun up out the well on his property.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Right,
definitely.
found it. Found that picture. I think I found that picture anyway.
Should be covered in sand. It was in the stonework, still complete there, the whole circle, and I think they excavated down to about 7 or 8 feet. And I did one interview with the archaeologist, stood in the bottom of the well, looking down at him with the camera. So it's fairly well shored up.
Well,
well.
We'll see.
So Luke, if you could share the screen, tell me when you can see it, Adrian, because I can't see the screen now. It's all black. Come on, kick the computer. Come on,
black
computer.
screens matter.
I like that.
Just get on one knee.
I tell you what, instead of that, I'll do this.
There you go.
There you are. Can you see that then?
No,
can see each other.
Luke, am I sharing? I've stopped sharing. I might have stopped sharing, that's why. I'll get there. You know what I'm like. I'll get there eventually. That's better. I'll share again now. My fault. It's always my fault. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So you can see it's really complete.
That's a good, nice blue stones as well, by the look of it.
Yeah.
Could you zoom in a bit, Dave, please? Wow, that's nice.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and it's interesting that within 10 feet of that, they were finding all the cremation pots as well, so shows you how close everything was to each other. And the other thing you could see was the dark beam slots where the beams had been originally, and they found that there'd been at least 2 fires because there was destroyed buildings there as well.
Fantastic.
But if you want to see the finds from there, Dave, they're in Warrington Museum, all in a massive cabinet. So all the funerary urns and all the tools and all the stonework they found there is all on display.
Well, I've pulled up another video. Luke, if you'd be so kind.
Now, for years, he has cut a lone figure in Cheshire, patiently scouring farmland with his metal detector for, and just be careful with this, for relics of the past.
I wouldn't say a thing. Today, James Balme saw his dreams come true when 8 Roman coins he unearthed were officially certified as national treasure. The big question, how did they get there? Our environment correspondent Colin Sykes went to investigate.
Another stroll into the countryside for James Balme. He knows every inch of this farmland near Lymm. Earlier this year, his efforts paid off when he found a hoard of 8 Roman coins dating back around 2,100 years.
What's really special about this find is that it's rare, it's old, it predates the Roman invasion of Britain, and the coins can go anywhere from 252 BC right through to the 1st century.
James believes there may have been a Roman monument here, where people would leave high-value coins as a mark of respect. In the 13 years that James has been working on this farmland, he's covered about 200 acres, but he keeps finding new things, which proves there's far more research to be done. Only days ago, he found yet another piece of Roman silver.
This coin actually has the inscription D. Solanus on it, minted in 91 BC. Now, D. Solanus was made the consul of Rome in BC 62. Problem being, he was adulterous with the Emperor Augustus's daughter. End of his political career.
We thought we'd got lucky today when the detector started beeping.
Unfortunately, due to modern technology, it was a can.
James has already found a silver bracelet here, which is now with the Museum of Manchester.
As a museum, what we're really interested in is not particularly the value of these discoveries in terms of their metal content, but what they can tell us about life in the past.
Today, his 8 coins went before a coroner in Warrington, who ruled them to be national treasure.
I wanted these coins to go to the museum, hopefully to go on display with the Roman silver snake bracelet. This is a large collection that's building, and obviously it's building a picture of Roman history in the area.
For James, the search continues. He's convinced there's more treasure to be found. Colin Sykes, BBC North West Tonight, Lymm.
It was a bit like MasterChef at the end for James.
There you go. A nice little, another nice little video. You've done quite a lot of work then. So, in your position, James, as a metal detectorist, as an archaeologist, and as a historian, what do you see as the relationship between the archaeological and metal detecting community?
It's improving. It's definitely improving, but I still think the problems are there. I still think there's an attitude still in some places. It's varied, but I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as it was. And there is a lot more cooperation and a lot more understanding between the two parties.
It's an up and down one, certainly is. I mean, I've seen posts today by a heritage Twitter account having a good old go at metal detecting again. All very vague and no idea what they were actually on about, but that's another matter altogether. So I take it you live in the Warrington Lymm area then?
I do, yeah. I'm over at a place called Paddington, which is you literally, if you know the area well enough, you can come from Lymm, cut through Warburton over the toll bridge over the Ship Canal, and you turn left into Warrington. So I'm on that side of Warrington. So it's sort of the border between Lymm and this side of Warrington. But yeah, it's a great area, and it's of course 10-15 minutes drive to most of my sites where I do go detecting.
Do you know, I was actually part of an archaeological dig at Appleton Thorn probably 20 years ago now with the Celtic Warrington project. That's who I was. That's who I was working with for 2 or 3 years. So, and the amount, that one was mad. The amount of old shoes that we were bringing out of somebody's garden was remarkable.
Did you set up a stall?
Clark's, probably Clark's.
It was suggested there was a horse that was buried on there's like a triangular green not far away, and it was a very well-known local person's horse who was supposed to be buried on that green. I've got all these books here, so I'm going to have a 100 episodes, and I haven't had this for about 32. Ow, cramp. That goes back a while. Off camera.
Take your trousers off and pants and stand on the floor. That'll get rid of it, Dave.
Well, I'm stood on the floor anyway, mate.
Yeah, you've got to take all your clothes off to get the electricity off and the energy.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
okay, I'll do that. Or I'll stop messing with. Ow! I'm gonna have to do the rest of the show stood up there.
You all right?
Yeah, I've got
You've been drinking. That's dehydration. You haven't been drinking enough.
No, I've been fiddling with my
Like
feet on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first one on live TV stream anyway. Usually it was the podcast I'd get cramp on.
Yeah. James, I saw you had an old C-scope there. What machine are you? Well, I know you haven't been out for a while, but what machine have you currently got sitting desperate to get out in the fields?
I bought 2 of the newer C-scope C1220. Is it the XP or I don't know, the 1220 range. Anyway, I bought 2 off Martin Bass about 2.5 years ago. So I've always stuck with it because I've never had a problem with the machines, and I've always had excellent results with them. I have tried other machines, but I've always ended up going back to the 1220.
What have you always used? C-scope?
I've always used C-scope, even from when I got my first detector back in 1979, when it needed about 16 batteries and a couple of people to carry it. But yeah, I've always stuck with them. And if something's working, I mean, there may be better machines, I don't know. It's sort of horses for courses, what really suits you. But I've always found the 1220 to be very responsive and an excellent machine to use.
Yeah, and
it's a fantastic segue there as well that's just occurred, because yesterday it was announced that Regtons have now got the C-Scope Evo in stock. Adrian,
I haven't heard about that machine. Is that a new one? No. Yes, it is, and I've got the. I've been testing it now for about 6 months, along with many other people, and I've got the final one, which is exactly the same pretty much as the first one I got, but there are a lot of tweaks to the software and certain things. So I had a little play this week and hope to go out this weekend with it. But it's come a long way since the machines you've got, James, in technology and also price. So Regton's selling it. It'd be interesting how it goes, but I'm yet to see how do you put it? The final version will be, but it's nice to hold machine. It's British. It's very well made. Yeah. It's going to last years. And the battery on it, like the old days when you had your batteries, the rechargeable one in it, it just doesn't go down. I don't know what they've put in it. Well, I do know what they've put in it, but it's. I've been out detecting with one of the original ones I had for 2 days, so probably 8 hours, and it just did not go down. I think they've got a lot of energy saving in it, power saving. So like when you charge it up, the screen doesn't show up because it saves energy and all that malarkey. But yeah, it's come a long way since the early machine. So I wish them the best.
And on the new ones, are they interchangeable batteries? Or are they a bit like mobile phones today, where the battery is put in and it stays in unless you send it back to the factory?
The battery stays in. It's a whatever, but lithium-ion battery. But I think it is replaceable, like a lot of things, after 2 or 3 years. So you can replace them in a lot of detectors. Obviously, you validate your warranty. But I don't know. C-Scope, maybe if you send it back. This is the beauty of having a company in Kent, down the road in the UK. They're very good on their customer service, and also, like Dave said, I don't know if the beginning of the show, his first detector, someone gave him a detectable, which is 30 years old, which he lost, and someone gave him one. Martin Bass at C-Scope, 55, did you say?
45.
45. Martin Bass took it off him, and they went away and fixed it and put a new battery thing in it and sent it back to him working. It's like lovely, and it's good as well because they're recycling old machines. So
that's good, as you say. I mean, as I've said to you earlier, I've been involved with C-Scope now from 1979, and I've spoke to Martin on many occasions. He's been extremely helpful to me when it comes to sort of getting new machines. Now, one thing they did do for me, and this shows what a great company they are, is that about 12 years ago, someone broke into Land Rover, bit of a giveaway with the number plate saying dig, and stole all the C-Scope machines. I spoke to C-Scope. They sent me 2 new machines gratis, not even charged me for them, because they said that what I was doing was great. I'm trying to promote the hobby with them. And they didn't even blink. They just sent me 2 brand new machines in the post, and I was absolutely flabbergasted.
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate to test the Evo, but if ever I had any issues, like, I don't know, I accidentally snapped the bolt on near the coil through one way or another, and next day, one in the post, any issues, Martin's there. It's good, very good customer service. So I'll see what's going on with my head. It's like
you keep changing colour on your head.
I tell you what, Incredible Hulk wouldn't be able to do this show, would he?
It's because I've got a syrup on tonight. So no, I haven't. Sorry, syrup thing. I don't know what that is. It's like that stroke advert, the woman on television. When her head melts. Maybe I should be careful. But yeah. Oh my God, what is? Sit like that. That's better. Yeah. Sit like that. Sorry. You're right, Dave. How's your cramp?
It's still there. I've got it on the front now as well. I've got it on the back of my leg and on the front as well. Now it's joined up together, and I'm doing a nice little Indian dance while you're not looking.
Right,
sorry, native.
No, that's
is it
all right.
Native Indian or Native American? What's the term that you're allowed to use?
Indian.
Indian.
Maybe. Do you stand up at work all day, Dave?
Yes. It's because I'm back at the gym, Adrian. Your gym's reopened last week, so I'm using stupid muscles again.
Not good for you. Not good
Lunges
for you.
and such like.
Yeah.
Apparently it is, but not when you're a man of my girth. Trying to walk, but it hurts. I hate cramp. He's back. Situate me leg in an area of somewhere where it won't hurt. We've got the Diggers Dips and prize draw in the next 10 minutes or so with 5 prizes tonight. Yes, 5 prizes, seeing it's the 100th episode of the Big Detecting Show. So, ooh, that hurts. I think I'm all right now. I'm more or less certain I had it last night in the middle of the night as well. Something vague and reminded me, but that was last night, and I think I've slept since then. So anyway, and the Back to Time team, James, obviously they're back in the highlight at the moment. They're back in public eye. Yeah. The new season's more or less saying that's going to happen. They've got the budget for, I think, 2 episodes plus to look at into several more episodes in the near future. Yeah. Do you still get a lot of interest from people off the back of the 2007 episode?
I do. One thing I did do is when I went to do the time team, I asked them specifically, could I bring a video camera and record it all myself? And I did that. And over 3 days, I actually got 3 days of my own footage. Doing my films, I started making these into behind the scenes films and uploaded them to the channel. And to this day, there's still some of the highest viewed films on my channel. Great interest from America and Canada especially. And I think that it will continue.
Fantastic. Well, I obviously, just to remind myself before the show, I was actually sat watching that episode just to give me. In fact, we were going to play it, but obviously, if the time team credits roll, YouTube has started picking up on things like that. We don't obviously want the show banned, so we put that to one side, unfortunately. But I was watching it, but 2007 series, and it was Warburton, Manchester. It's classed as, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Trafford, so really it's Cheshire because Warburton's in Cheshire. It's right on the border, but they needed a dig in the Manchester area, so this was so close that they classed it as being in Manchester. But Warburton actually is in Cheshire.
Mm. They could certainly do with a return to Warburton.
Say that again, sorry.
They could certainly do with a return to Warburton.
They could, yeah. As I say, I did a program which is on the channel for the Inside Out series for BBC One, and that actually followed me and Manchester University as we dug the site previous to Time Team coming. And even in that film, Mike Neville, who you've seen in Time Team, who does a lot of industrial archaeology, even in that program, he was quite sure we had some sort of small fortlet or something similar. So it's quite a surprise when Time Team came down and decided there wasn't something there.
I've done Inside Out myself a few times. There's a few videos of them on our channel. Yeah. What was the other one from 1998? Remember Grenada Breeze channel when it first came out on Sky?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I was on Psychic Lifetime with Derek Okora and Sam.
Well, yeah. Oh, I'd like to watch that.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah. Talking of links, James, what's your YouTube channel? Just so people can have a look.
My YouTube channel. Now, this is one that's tricky because some people sort of do this wrong sometimes. It's TV Presenter 4 as number 4 history. So it's youtube.com/TV Presenter 4 history. That will take you straight to the channel. New films are uploaded every week. At least 1, if not 2 films go up every week. And it's worth subscribing, because if you subscribe and click notifications, every time a new film is uploaded, you'll get a little thing on your phone or on your computer saying brand new film just uploaded. So it saves you having to look around for the films. So I'm currently in the middle of doing History Walk Series 3. So I've got 9 more episodes that need to be filmed between now and the summer. And the Rambles Through History is ongoing. I'm just going to keep that rolling all the time. So there will be new films once or twice a week.
What's your most popular video?
Unusually, I did a video 2009 called The Anglo-Saxons in England. And what I did, basically, I'd done some filming at Middlewich for Middlewich Town Council for the Norman and Saxon Festival. So I just cobbled together a lovely little film of the soldiers fighting, on the looms, carving wood, making weapons, put a 5 or 6 minute film together. And that's, for some reason, has been the most popular one at about 180,000 views. Now, when I've researched it, the reason it's so popular, it's been picked up by so many schools for the key stage. And a lot of them use that film to show the junior school children, really, life about the Saxons. So I think that's where it's spun all its views from. Yeah,
it's true that, because Kaylee, who's on our show, was on our show, and also I've forgotten Kate. What's the channel, Dave? Kaylee.
History with Kaylee.
History with Kaylee.
Yeah.
A lot of schools subscribe and use her channel to get history across. And I think we forget that, like when I was at school, you were lucky if you got an overhead projector, and the telly got wheeled out when the space shuttle took off, or the Mary Rose came out. That was about it. But now, obviously, teachers can sit and have a drink and a cigarette and put YouTube on. But and with kids learning more from home now, well, they were. YouTube's key resource for stuff like that.
Yeah, because I always remember at school, and it's so disappointing, is you do the Romans, the Saxons, the Normans, and it's great. And you come to your options, you go, right, I'm going to choose history. And you choose history, and you go in September to the next lesson. It's all about the First World War, the Second World War, and you think, what have I signed up for here? You know, it just killed it. And I didn't really have any interest in history apart from going out and metal detecting from the 3rd year of secondary school until I'd left school, and I was free to go out and do my own historical research.
And you've done that ever since, I presume, like the weekends. Yeah, everything. You know, all the films, script writing, everything is used to be done at weekends, but now I've gone full time. This January, I turned full time doing this. So my week doesn't. I think it's the COVID week where nobody has a weekend anymore. And every day is a different day. So some days I'll be writing, some days I'll go out and present, other days I'll edit. But yeah, I'm still actively involved almost 7 days a week in some aspect of what I'm doing. Wow.
Stan's bit of an update on Time Team. Stan's lad says somewhere, where is it? It's gone. There it is. Time Team have been filming up the road from me, the Roman Villa at the Fines. Ralph Fiennes and his family's country home with the Institute of Detectorist bloke. So that's actually being filmed as we speak, apparently.
Good.
Institute of Detectorists bloke. I like that. Yeah.
Name, Dave. Name.
Very, very, very well, nicely put. To be fair, I bet you watch now. There'll be loads of not very nice comments coming through any moment. Come on, someone, make a very not nice comment, as you're bound to. That's not true. Anyway, how long have we got to the show?
TC to text.
There it is. There's a winner ticking there.
Yeah. We won't get onto that subject because you're aware of that, I presume, James.
What's that? Sorry, the
Institute.
The Institute of Detectorists. I was in it in the very, very early days, for about 2 or 3 years. And then I just let it lapse, basically, so, and I've never used or been in anything like that ever since.
No,
I don't think I go out enough to do so.
I think you're confused with the Federation of Detectorist Institutes.
I am.
It's been going on, it's been in the public perception for about the past year. And it's been not very well spoke about in some areas.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah. Leave it at that, Dave, I think.
I'm dead good sometimes. I can actually speak about things without put my foot in it. sometimes. It's because we're so well scripted, obviously.
Yeah.
Right, Luke, would you be... Oh, no, it's all right. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds of... That bloody clock always changes when I'm looking at on the Digger's Draw thing. Where are we now? Share the screen. We can share the screen and we can talk over it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, a couple of minutes. There we go. So, James, as you can see, this is the weekly draw. This week we've got 46 entrances. There we go. Excuse me 1 moment. First prize tonight is the Big Detective Show bundle. We've put together some Big Detective Show bits and bobs. Second prize is an Arch MD magazine bundle. Third prize is... Oh, I didn't realise I could do that. I was actually supposed to take pictures, but I only realised this morning that I hadn't took the pictures and sent them, so you just got a logo instead, which looks pretty cool anyway. Third prize is Cleaning Coins and Artifacts book. That looks nice. I haven't got that one. In fourth prize, wrong way, is a Composite Cleaning Pencil, courtesy of the, not gonna look, Composite Cleaning Pencil Company, Mr. Graham Dempsey. And in fifth place, see, I didn't look then, Adrian.
Yeah, very well done, Dave. Yeah.
I've got it on the screen and I can see it. And in fifth place tonight is 5 Diggers Dips tokens. So we have to be quick tonight because apparently they've sped up the draw a wee bit. So without further ado, between number 1 and 46, James, it's over to you.
Number 22, please.
22, Adrian.
11, please.
11.
Bob.
And I'll go for 19. Let's closely bundle them tonight.
What's in the Big Detecting Show bundle?
It's a bundle of Big Detecting Show things.
Ah, hair.
Yeah, a bit of me hair. It's still in the bin upstairs. So, oh, it's a 4. That's a high one.
Mm.
We only ever get them high when it's number 46, and it's Ted Herr. So congratulations to Ted Herr. You've won the Big Detective Show bundle. You will all receive a notification after the show tonight via Diggers Dips telling you've won and giving you the information of how to claim your prize. So Chris and the team will send that over to myself. Sorry, James, quick number. Oh, we're too late.
22.
4.
3.
4.
6 again.
Gordon 45 wins the second prize. As I was saying, you'll be contacted and the information will be sent to all the relevant peoples, and you will get your stuff in the very short future. James, number
12.
Adrian
24.
14. Oh, too low. 7. 007. Philip. Well done, Philip. You've won Cleaning Coins and Artifacts book. New from Bandai. And the fourth prize, James.
17.
Adrian.
8.
42. Oh.
God. It's like me and the Grand National.
35. The Butch UK.
Ooh.
You win a cleaning pencil from the Composite Cleaning Pencil Company. I have to say company at the end. James.
42.
Oh, Adrian.
19. No,
I was going to go
19.
for that. 4.
Yeah.
Oh, could be
not
42.
40.
Could be 42.
6. Oh.
49.
Grail.
Hang on a
Trooper.
minute.
I
We've only got 40.
Sense.
What's all that?
Oh, well, Grail Trooper. So first prize tonight is Ted Herr, not Ben Hur, Ted Herr, the Big Detective Show bundle. Gordon 45, the Arch MD Mag bundle. Philip, the Cleaning Coins and Artifacts book. The Butch UK, the Cleaning Pencil from cleaningpencil.com. And 5 Diggers Dips tokens will be credited to Grail Hunter's account. Thank you to the Diggers Dips team, and thank you to the lovely Mr. Graham Dempsey. I forgot his name then. I went blank. So
thank you, Graham. Sorry. I've got a little card from Graham this week.
So have I. Here it is.
Yeah, really good. And I'm yet to find something exciting to put on it.
Do you reckon you could find a snake skin to put on it?
Oh. I'm going to write it on my hand, Dave. I'm going to write it on my hand because it's still sitting here. I'm writing on my hand. I'm going to put a big D there.
Yeah, but you'll think dunce or something and forget.
No. Dave.
That's me, that.
And I'll get to work tomorrow and I'll go and I'll make sure I post them. Is it your PO box address? Latex Fashions for Men?
No.
Or just your home one?
Latex Fashions for All.
Oh, sorry. Yes, gender and all that. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, check your emails and they'll be with you shortly. Within the next hour or so, they'll be. Chris will press the button and they'll send you the emails about to claim your prize. So don't worry about that. So, James, what's next? What have we got look forward to next on the channel?
Next on the channel is coming the next episode of History Walks. This will be episode 6 of series 3. I'm not disclosing just where yet because there's quite a specialist filming to be done there. And then we move on and we roll forwards now with the Rambles Through History, because the difference between the two, History Walks takes you to the building, inside, outside and above. Rambles Through History can be anywhere. It could be a village, it could be a small town, or it could even be somewhere in the countryside where there's something like a well or an ancient monument. That way, we've got 2 separate films. You're not going to be flying over everything in that series, but you are in History Walks. But each one will be mixed and matched, and it just keeps the flow, because I don't want to do History Walks non-stop, bang, 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 without something different. Some people love History Walks, other people seem to love the Rambles Through History. So there's something there for everyone. And over the next few months, I'll also be doing more films to promote some of the churches for the National Churches Trust.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be posting them via the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine website. There you go, as we do with History with Kaylee and the Lost Tapes of History podcast as well. So you'll be able to find them on there. If you don't remember to go and find them on the on YouTube itself, James regularly posts the links as well to the Big Detecting Show on Facebook. So I'm sure you'll see them somewhere nonetheless. Mm-hmm. Adrian, have you got any? Well, before obviously, Adrian, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of the Tonight, if you've got any final questions for James, please send them over straight away, and we'll get them in. Adrian, have you got anything else?
James. You things come back. You speak about. Obviously, you do a lot of churches.
Yeah.
In where your area you live, you potentially in the future would like to go down to, I don't know, or go up to Scotland, Devon, Cornwall, and do other areas throughout the country?
That's exactly right. I mean, because of the Cheshire Life and doing everything in Cheshire and living in Cheshire, it's ideal at the moment to nurture this baby bigger and bigger. But obviously, as restrictions are lifted and we can travel, we will go to Derbyshire, we'll go to other areas, and we'll cover other buildings, not just churches, but other historical sites. So eventually, who knows where we're going, but in the next year or so, we'll start to expand into different counties.
TC Detect says, if you play Walks Through History at double speed, it'll be Jogs Through History.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm not that fit. Although I've lost 25 pounds in the last 3 months, so we're doing okay.
Marvellous. Wish I could. I lost about... No, I've probably actually put it on. Well, I lost £1 shaving my hair off last night. That'll do.
Yeah.
Right, so anybody, if you've got any more questions for James this evening, if not, if I play the video again now, which points you towards the channel itself, Luke, if you'd be so kind. Do you know, James, while I was watching that video, I was thinking to myself, and there's one or two churches. When I was on 4 off a few years ago, on my 4 off, obviously everyone at school and work, etc., I'd be off on my travels, looking around Derbyshire, and there was I can't remember the place, it's at the top of my head, but it was where the grave of Little John is, over that way. And there's also between Bakewell and Matlock, there's a church there with Knights Templars grave that was fantastic as well.
All right.
Where was the other one I was going to say? Oh, obviously, I think another good place would be Irwood Hall as well. That make fantastic for definitely aerial footage.
Yeah.
So absolutely loads for you to do, isn't it?
I'll add them to the list.
Absolutely. I'll write them down.
Write them down, send me a list.
Rob Random asks, have you got any qualifications in history? And if he has, which one would he recommend for budding historians?
Right. I'm a history columnist for Cheshire Life magazine. Qualifications, life. That's it. A love of history, a passion for history, and love doing research. There's nothing to stop anybody researching the history around them. And you just never know what you may discover out there that may not have even been noticed before. So I can't give you a recommendation for what to study for history, but there's plenty of courses out there depending on what level and what age you are. But as I say, I've achieved what I've done today, and of course I hope it's an inspiration that I've managed to do this and become a history columnist just by experience of going out there and doing it myself.
Fantastic. I think that's the case for many people. Hather Sage, that rings a bell. Metal detecting, Nick. Hather Sage. And what is the Tideswell, the Cathedral of the Peak District? Fantastic place again, that is. And a great chippy opposite. Not that I'd know. I've not been there on it.
You don't go to Chippies, do you?
No, they come to me. Right, James, if there's anything else you'd like to add before we depart?
No, I think I've sort of summed it up. All I'd say is that Cheshire Life magazine is out tomorrow. I'm not suggesting you rush out and buy it, but it's online as well. And I will be posting my latest article on my Facebook page. So my Facebook page, where you can find all my information and all my publications, is at Historyman Cheshire Life. And that will take you straight to my main page where you'll see everything that I'm doing.
Fantastic. And obviously, I'll get James at some point today or tomorrow to share a link on that on the Big Detective Show Facebook group. Okay. Excuse me, Adrian, anything? Me cramp's gone. Anything you'd like to add?
No, that you should have a bit of salt or isotonic drink, Dave, to relieve your cramp. And
I don't
James,
like salt.
What?
I don't like salt. I don't have salt on anything.
Really?
Never been a fan.
Ooh. James, thank you very much for coming on from me. It's been really interesting, so thank you. I haven't got any more questions, Dave. Only about your cramp, but we'll carry that on after the show.
And obviously, James will, any of short trailers that he's got for his videos, James, he's going to start, he's been pointing them out to me in the past, and we'll play them on the show as well, so you'll know what the next episode looks like.
Yeah. Or any trailers that I do, Dave, in the future, I'll drop them over onto your page for you.
Fantastic.
And then obviously people know what's happening, even if they're not following the site, they know there's a film coming shortly.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. And obviously then we'll put it into a post. Sorry, we'll put the episode into a post and we'll play the trailer on here, as we do for Kaylee as well. So there's another episode of the Lost Tapes of History podcast that came out last night. If you go to www.archmdmag.com and you'll find that listed on there, or I think I shared it in the Big Detecting Show and the Archaeology Metal Detecting Magazine Facebook places earlier on. So that's all sorted. And there's another, tonight's post was a new video by Kaylee, which there's another one out, so I need to put that on, but it was called something, and I can't remember what it was called, and I can't find it now, and it's disappeared.
History.
There it is. Ceremonial complex discovered on the A75 Dunragit bypass in Scotland. So that was Kaylee's latest video.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'd like to wish you both as well. Congratulations on your 100th edition, your 100th programme.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to seeing many more as well.
Well, if you've got anything you'd like to come on for in the future, James, to discuss anything, any future work, etc., please give us a shout. You're more than welcome back anytime. And if anybody is watching and would like to be a guest on the show, again, please drop us a line, and we'd love to have you. We've updated the coming weeks, and I know some of you will like some of our guests. Next week we have Otis Arms from the Hidden History Hunters Detecting Scotland. Have you seen his dog, Adrian? Best dog ever.
Do you know what? His channel, I used to have a dog, and sadly it was put down last year, but his dog's got no back legs. Is that right?
That's right. It goes round on wheels.
And he seems to review machines when I review them at the same time. So it's quite interesting. But him and his dog, lovely. I can't watch Lassie because, well, I haven't watched it for about 20 years, but last time I watched it, I cried, and I probably would again. And it's like a mini, I shouldn't say it, disabled Lassie, but it doesn't stop him, does it? His dog,
no,
it just keeps going, and
he carries its shovel for him.
Yeah, I know. Watch it on his YouTube. Well, wait till next week and you'll see it. But it's lovely, really nice, and his YouTube videos are really great. So I can't wait to have him on. Really looking forward to it. There'll be a lot of talk about metal detectors, I think. A lot.
Do you think? I'll let you talk. I'll sit here and get cramp and stuff.
We could talk about cramp detectors.
Put myself on mute just for this show. I'll be fine. The following week, we've got Gary Cook coming on, discussing the updates to the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally. The 13th of May, Daryl Halter from Sussex Heritage. The 20th of May, that's Brad, the YouTuber, who's recently started the Treasure Quest metal detecting channel. Are you ready for this one, Adrian? Are you ready?
Is it Mackenzie Crook?
No, we've got to speak to him in, is it November? November, we've got to speak to him again. Yeah. On the 27th of May, we have another local to us, James. We have Cole Cookson and Hamilton White from Lost Relics of the Knights Templar TV show. And if you've not seen that, that is a must, because the relics on them, they've got providence and everything, and it's jaw-dropping, some of the information, isn't it, Adrian?
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah,
definitely look into that.
And also, don't forget, River Hunters is still running on a Monday night. Episode 3 coming up. I've missed, is it 3 or 4? 4, 3, 3, 3, 3 coming up this Monday night, which I've not watched last week's yet because I've been at work. So there you go. I've got tonight's viewers' finds lined up, so don't go away. Thank you, James. It's been an absolute pleasure. Obviously, look forward to meeting you in reality, seeing we live so close. Yeah. And you go to the churches that I go to.
Find that white fiver you dropped, Dave.
So thanks again, everybody. We're back same time, same place next Thursday with Otis Arms. So good night, James. Good night, Adrian. Thank you all. And thank you to Luke up in the ether up there. Good night, everyone.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think you'll have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so bright, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling It's you and me on this beautiful day, and we're smiling, holding on to you tight. I guess our hearts can align, and it feels so bright. It's like your love has gotten to me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. I can see it now, it's deep in your eyes. No way to define what we feel inside. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give. Something's telling me it's right.